All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2026. Happy New Year, guys. And we are going to be analyzing 20 pairs as usual, like we always do, right? Now, this 2026, guys, I want you guys to follow very closely, right? Follow very closely because um, there are a lot of people still enjoying their holidays right now. We have resumed. You need to shop every blessed day. When I was posting this screenshot right here, a lot of people decided not to show me their own, right? Because they didn't show up every day, right? So this is a new year. Show up every day, and let us see what we have for this new week. So I'm also going to be very active on Instagram this period and all those good stuff, right? But for now, let us see which pairs the very first week of 2026 are going to give us as opportunities to make money this year, right? So this right here is the first pair, GBP AUD. So this is going to be the longer version of this video, right? So I'll analyze and break down all these pairs live right here now. So this right here is GBP AUD, and you can see that right now this price action is currently bullish right now. But current price data is showing signs of bearishness because it's breaking previous lows, right? As you can see right here. So in this case, I will just call weekly time frame bearish, right? I'll just call weekly time frame bearish in this case, right? Let's continue. Daily time frame. If you look at the daily time frame, you can see that the daily time frame it was bullish and is currently bearish. And why is it bearish? Because of this lower low and this lower high, right? So we technically have two time frame in sync so far, but we need the 4 hour price data to tell us what to do, right? So on the 4 hour time frame right now, so we can see that the 4 hour time frame is 4 hour time frame is currently bearish right now, right? As you can see, price broke under this low right here, right, which is this low, and price has not closed above this high or this low yet. So this price action on the 4 hour is technically still bearish right now, right? So this is good because it is giving us sign that we are supposed to sell this market. So the next step for us to see, or what we are looking for, what we are looking for next, right? What we are looking for next is to look for an area where we can sell from, right? Since we know that on this market we are supposed to be selling, right? So this right here, we have a minor area of interest right here, which has basically 1, 2, 3, 4 tags from this area, right? So on this price action, it actually just makes sense for us to have to wait for a break and retest just like this to actually sell this market, right? But this market might not happen as soon as we think it will happen, right? So GBP AED might give us the very first opportunity this week, right? But let's continue analyzing and see and choose the best for this new week, right? All right, so the next pair, let's delete everything here. That's what we always do. We always delete everything before we analyze, right? So let's delete everything and see what we have clearly, right? So this right here is the daily time frame. So let's just start from the weekly first. Weekly time frame bearish, right? Daily time frame is currently bullish right now, right? And why is that bullish? Again, is because this is the higher high and this right here is the higher low. Price has not broken below this low to confirm that it's bearish, and price has only broken above highs, right, to confirm that this market is bullish. So this market is currently still bullish right now. I might be very interested in taking GBP CHF, but let me show you what I'm seeing, right? So this right here now, daily time frame is bullish, right? Weekly time frame is still bearish. We still need 4-hour time frame to still be bullish, at least to be able to buy, right? So 4-hour time frame was bearish all the way here, closed new low, and now we broke above here, creating new highs. So this time frame is still choppy the way you're seeing it, right now it's still currently choppy. But if you are going to draw a trend line on this market, how are you supposed to draw it, right? If you look here, you see that this looks like some kind of a trend line, right? So from this trend line, you can almost just judge that this market might actually be bullish. From the EMA as well, you can clearly see that price is currently holding price the EM is holding price currently as support. As you can clearly see, there's also multiple rejections to the downside, right? So this is a sign that the market could actually buy, right? Now on the 1 hour time frame, which is going to be our entry time frame, we are just going to look for how to enter this market. From the 1 hour time frame, you can clearly see that this market is actually going up right now, right? So these price actions are not clean on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. You can clearly see that you are struggling a little bit to try and see a clean price action on these time frames. So that means that if you are betting your money and entering on either of this time frame, the 4 hour or the 1 hour, it means it's still a little bit risky just because you cannot see the price action clean enough, right? So the next thing for us to do on this kind of market is to look for the cleanest price action, and in this case, it's actually the daily time frame, right? And then if you are going to be buying or selling this market, you have to just enter on the cleanest time frame, right? And it also have to make sense, right? So if I'm entering on the daily time frame in this scenario, which is just weird, right? It means I'll be entering somewhere around here, and then my stop loss is supposed to be below this low right here, because if price breaks below this low, it simply means that the price action is now bearish on the daily time frame that I'm entering, right? And then I supposed to target 1:2, and this right here is supposed to be the final take profit point of this market, which means our take profit target is way too far on this case, right? So you see why we can't really trade GBP right? Because the entry time frame is supposed to be the 1 hour, but we seem to be entering on the daily, and it's still not giving us a very positive reaction point, right? This right here is where price will react from, and price could make a major decision or sell very strongly from that area, right? So GBP is out for this week, right? Next pair we have is Euro AUD. Euro AUD, as usual, we'll delete everything that we have and see what we have right now, right? So Euro AUD, all right, Euro AUD right now, we have been closing below lows, right? Clearly, we have been closing below lows, which simply means this is now the current lowest point on this market on the daily time frame. As you can see, right, we are using current price data, right? As you can see, so this right here is the lowest point that we can see so far, and I'm going to be calling this market structure bearish, right? Now a lot of you guys are going to be calling this market structure bullish because of this higher high and higher low right here, right? So let me draw it, let me mark it out. So because of this high and because of this low, a lot of people will decide to call this market structure bullish because we have not broken above this high or we have not broken below this low. But you cannot tell me that on the daily time frame, which price have pretty much traded since it created this high and this low, that traded about 190 bars of candles, right, over 268 days, and you tell me that all those price action that is happening there is irrelevant on the daily time frame. It makes no sense, right? So that is the only reason I will not be counting this as the higher high and the higher low. Remember, trading is about seeing the chart and understanding and interpreting the chart. It's not all about following your strategy blindly, right? So this right here is Euro AUD. So let us look at the weekly and see what we are seeing there. Weekly time frame also seems to be breaking new lows, right? And the 4 hour time frame is also currently bearish right now, right? Also currently bearish right now. So we need to look for an area of interest to sell from, and the cleanest area of interest I can find here is this one right here. We have a lot of reactions from this area right here. Now clearly you can see that anytime price came to around this price point, price rejected either down or up strongly. So this is the major support and resistance area that price has respected a lot of times, right? So we needed a retracement to sell, and now that I'm just talking about it, I just realized that it seems like this trade has already played out, right? It seems like we were supposed to sell from around this area, right? So let's just go to the next pair. Next pair, NZD card. All right, NZD card. Okay, this was a trade. Let's see, December 25th. Okay, this was one of the trade I was going to take, but I was out of the market at that time, right? So I'm sure this was a legit trade. and this was my trade anyway. All right, so that was last year. Let's just go to this year and see what we have anyway. Right, so NZD card next pair, daily time frame is currently bearish. If you read this market structure clearly, let us just do it together. This right here was the lowest low, right, and the lower high for that was what? This high, right? As soon as price broke above, this became the new higher high, and this remained the new higher low, right? This right here, it broke above again, higher high. Look for the higher low for that. Is this one right here. It broke below, same thing. This become the new lower low. Price has shifted structure bearish, and this is the lower high for that. Price breaks below again, you find the new low for that, and you find the new high for that low, right? And now that price is currently below this line, then this now becomes the new lower low. Very simple. And this the new lower high. If you are too confused, look at the EMA. You can clearly see that price is holding the EMA is holding price as resistance. So this right here is the new lower low and the new lower high. This is the daily time frame, clearly shows that daily time frame is bearish. Weekly time frame, on the other hand, is currently bearish as well, right? And then the 4 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame is also bearish, and in this case the 4 hour time frame, this is now the high for this low, right? This is the lower low, and this is the lower high for that. So let's go over to the daily time frame and look for an area of interest. So we are going to be looking up for our area of interest within this low and this high, right? So if we can get at least 3 rejections from those areas, then we'll be interested in trading this market. Now, from our observation, seems like we only have 1 rejection from within this area, or we have 1 rejection and maybe like 2 rejections. So this is not a strong area of interest. We are not going to open the year trading a very weak area of interest, right? We are going to open the year trading a very strong area of interest. So that brings me to the next pair. We are not going to be interested in trading NZD card this week, right? So let's continue. What did I do? So next pair, USD JPY. Again, we delete everything. Now clearly, you can clearly see that this market structure is clearly bullish, and we can clearly see that this is the higher high, right, and higher low. So in this market, we are only looking to see how we can buy, right? We are only looking to see how we can continue buying from this market right here. So let's go over to the weekly and see what we have. Clearly, weekly is also clearly bullish, higher high, higher low. 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame. This right here, price have still not closed below this low, right? Price have still not closed below this low, which simply makes this market also still bullish. So all the time frames are telling us it's bullish, but pay attention to this weekly time frame, right? This weekly time frame, price came up here around where price is right now, right, and rejected down very, very strongly, as you can see right here, right? But it's just wanting to pay attention to. It doesn't prove that it's going to happen again, right? The reason is because it has not happened like twice before. Maybe it have happened like twice before, then we'll assume that it's supposed to happen again, right? So all market structures are clearly bullish right now, right? Let's go over to the 4 hour again. So we need to look for how to enter this market. Daily time frame, area of interest. We can't find any area of interest. There's no price action around here to give us this area. So hard to find an area here. And this is what, 2025. This price action happened in around 2024, 2025, which is way too far, right? We are working with current price data because that's what's more relevant. Whatever government activities that was controlling price at this point is not the same thing that's happening. Plus, we also have a new government, which is Trump on the seat, right? So it's not going to be the same, reaction from. It's not going to be the same kind of price pattern like that. It just happens, right? So this right here, we know we are supposed to buy, but where to enter, we can't really find it in this case, right? So you have to just go to the next pair. All right, so next pair, Euro JPY, daily is bullish, weekly is also bullish, and 4 hour is 4 hour time frame is also bullish, right? So we need an area to buy from. We can only find a support area right here, and this is also a 4 hour support area, right? So from this area, it seems like price has rejected this area multiple times, right? And it has failed to break this area severally, right? Daily time frame, same thing, that same area, right? So this particular one is also a weak area of interest, right? It's also still weak. It's also still a weak area of interest, and the entry time frame, which is the 1 hour time frame, is also bearish right now, right? So price is still coming to this area, so we still need price to get back into this area and also have like a shift of structure just like this. Then we'll look for engulfing here, around here, to enter, right? So price will be bearish coming to area of interest, then shift structure bullish, then a retracement, and then an engulfing to confirm that we are going to enter this market, and then we buy, right? But of course the area is a weak area of interest. I'm not really ready to put my money on weak area of interest, starting with the weak, right? Maybe when we go on, we can continue using our 4 hour area of interest too as well, right? So let's continue on the next pair, CAD JPY. Daily is bullish, weekly time frame is also very bullish, and the 4 hour time frame the 4 hour time frame is bearish in this case. It's bearish in this case, but we are still holding price as support right now. For price to be clearly bearish, we still need price to still break below this low, by the way, right? We still need price to still break below this low to confirm that it's very bearish, right? But right now it's technically bearish, but it's not that strong. Plus the last candle was a Marabuzu candle, right? If you look closely, let me zoom in. This candle right here, if you zoom in, you can see that it's a Marabuzu candle. There's no wick at the bottom, right? So it's very likely that price will come back and create that wick first. So this market, let's look for how to enter. Let's look at the daily again. There's no place to just enter this market except on the lower time frames, right? So I'm not interested in taking any weak trading setups on the first week of 2026, right? So next pairs, AUD USD is the next pair. Let us see what we have there. So far I've not selected any pair for this week. I've only selected GBP AUD so far, which is not really a good sign. It shows that this market might still be opening, right? So I remember calling the trade for buys here. Oh, I think that's what I just deleted. Exactly. So I was calling the trade for buys here. As you can clearly see, price came back into area and went up. But I'm pretty sure this was in December 19th, right? I think at that point I actually stopped trading for the year, right? So let us see what we have for this new week, right? Market structure is currently bullish right now. Daily, weekly time frame also bullish, and then let's see, weekly time frame, is it bullish? Yes, clearly bullish, and then 4 hour time frame is well, technically bearish, technically still bearish, because this right here is the lower low and the lower high for this market. Price have still not closed above that high yet, right? So this market, by the way, seems like it's at the higher high, right? There's technically no price data to tell us if we are supposed to be buying or selling. We need at least 3 taps here. We can't get, I think we can get like, is there 3 taps here? So this is the area of interest you can find here, and this area of interest is for a buying market, right? So let's see the 1 hour again. This is not as bad as I thought it was. GBP AUD USD could actually buy this week, right? So we just need it to be cleaner, and it can be cleaner when we have a clear break above all these points that hold price as resistance before, as you can clearly see, right? Clearly you can see that price came to this area, rejected down, same thing here, rejected down, rejected down here again, same thing, and he held price as support in all these places, right? So it makes sense that we should at least clear all those levels for us to before we put our money into the market, right? So um let's this is what I am seeing right now in this market. So I need price to maybe react from that place again, right? From here, then we now have that break, right? Then at the retest, we look for engulfings to now finally buy this market. So AUD USD, I'll be looking closely at AUD USD for this new week. Euro USD is the next pair. Let us see what we have there. Daily time frame, and of course we delete everything that we have previously. Right, daily time frame is, well, technically still bullish at the moment. Right, daily time frame is still bullish at the moment. We have a little bit of not so clean area of interest, but it's visible right from here. Weekly time frame, it's also, well, technically still bullish, right? And then the 4 hour time frame is the 4 hour time frame is still bearish, right? So this 4 hour time frame is still bearish. It only makes sense to buy on this day, so anywhere around here, that is 8th January. So 8th January, then we'll have some form of break around this area. So this market might not play out the way I'm expecting, right? I can already see it. This right here is a very key vital point, and this area of interest is not that big for a lot of price action to happen. So we still need price to kind of slow down, get into the area, slow down here without breaking this low. And even if it breaks this low, we don't need it to like continue trading below the area. We still need it to now have a clear break and retest above here to buy. That's why I'm saying January 8th to 9 or 12 could be a good time to actually buy Euro USD, right? But for now, price is currently still bearish, and I'm not interested in selling against the higher time frames, right? So I will not be adding Euro USD for this new week. Next pair, NZD JPY. NZD JPY daily time frame. Is bullish that we can see, but as long as I can't see an area of interest close, there's no reason going further and analyzing this market. We can't get the area of interest. So next pair, please. All right, so we have Euro GBP. All right, let us see what we have here now. So Euro GBP daily time frame is very bearish. Weekly time frame is, well, bullish, and then 4 hour time frame is also bearish, right? It's also bearish. All right, so it means that we are supposed to be selling these markets. But let me look at the weekly again that was bullish to see what we have there. Now, if this market is going to buy from the weekly, it means that this area is not so much of a bad area to be buying from when we have a confirmation. That's what the weekly is telling us, but every other time frame are telling us bearish. So let me go back to the daily time frame and see if we can find an area of interest there. All right, so on the daily time frame right here, you can see an area of interest like this. So clearly we can see that price has reacted from this area to the downside and to the upside, which means we just needed a retracement around here to sell, which is technically has happened already because we have one rejection candlestick and then we have an engulfing candlestick right here. So let's see how the 1 hour looks on this pair. So the 1 hour time frame was really slow right here, but we had the break right here and the retest, and this might be the entry right here. So technically this trade has left, but this could also be another entry right here. So this is how this trade is supposed to be looking. This trade is supposed to be looking like this. And we target 1:2. Very realistic risk reward ratio, right? So with this trade play out, let me just keep it close to monitor it and see how it plays out at the end of the day, right? Next pair, GBP card. Daily time frame on GBP card. Let us see. Wow, very clustered. Let's come a little bit closer. Ignore this. I was going back on my charts for last year to see how my performance was, and it was pretty good actually, right? So let us just continue. Now, first of all, the first thing I noticed on GBP card, daily time frame, is the time frame we are supposed to be drawing area of interest, but this time frame you can clearly see that it is very choppy, right? Very choppy. It has no clear direction. Betting your money in this kind of market just shows that you want to lose your money, right? So in this case, I don't want to lose my money, so I can just go to the next pair, right? So next pair, AUD card, daily time frame is now clearer, right? So daily time frame, let's delete this area just for clear perspective. Daily time frame is currently, well, technically still bearish right now, right? Weekly time frame, price have actually not closed above this area, right? So weekly time frame is tight, but it's still bullish. 4 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame is actually bullish, right? 4 hour time frame is actually bullish right now. So what is the best decision on this market? Now, my own personal decision on this market, here's what I'm thinking, right? So we have an area right here that price has respected previously before, right? So price came around this area and rejected down strongly. Same thing here, rejected down multiple times. When it was above, rejected up, right? And when it was below, rejected down to some extent, right? Right now, price is actually currently still bullish. Sorry, price is not bullish on this time frame, but it has an engulfing that has engulfed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of price action in one day, right? And the price is currently above this area of interest right here, right? It's above this area of interest, and the buyers have engulfed over 6 days of price action, right? The 4 hour time frame also, the sellers are finding it very difficult to continue selling from this area, right? He has rejected this area 3 times before, and right now the buyers seem to be breaking above this area right now, right? So this market is still a tight one, but I believe that this market should buy. So in this case, the best way to actually buy from this market, right, we are going to be having a new break and retest before we actually continue buying this market. So GBP AUD card, I will just keep it close. I'll just keep it close to monitor, right? USD card, I'll make a decision if to add them for this week very soon, right? USD card, next pair, clearly bearish right here on the daily time frame. Weekly time frame, 4 hour time frame. All right, this market is not even that clean, right? Next pair, AUD JPY, bullish on the 4 hour time frame. Daily time frame also, well, technically bearish right now. then weekly is bullish. No two time frame in sync on this market. GBP USD weekly is all over the place, but daily, okay, let's delete everything we have there and see this market a little bit more clearer. All right, so let's look at this daily time frame. Well, daily time frame was bearish here, was bearish from here, and now we broke above these highs, right, making this market structure bullish, right? Now this market structure is currently bullish on the daily time frame. Okay, so weekly time frame is what? Well, if you read this market structure, you can clearly see that this right here is the higher high and this is the higher low, which means that this market is bullish. But this right here, market is actually at the higher high. We expect a lower high to continue buying on the weekly, right? So it's very possible that market could actually sell to somewhere around here before it continue buying. It's very possible, but it doesn't mean it will always happen, right? So if that is possible, it means that we need a break below this low on a daily to actually sell to somewhere around here, which it will also be a tight risk reward ratio, right? Then 4 hour time frame, as you can see, is clearly bullish. I'm just going to have to monitor this market because I have a feeling that it's going to slow down to some extent, and around this level, which is around the 21st or 19th of January or thereabout, or 12th, anywhere within this area where the EMA might start having a curve, right? Then we should expect sales on this market. But we cannot start betting against the trend right now, right? Betting against the trend is just too risky, right? So this right here is the market structure for GBP USD. But I expect that GBP USD at some point it will have to come to sell, right? So that the weekly can create that higher low, right? So I'm predicting that around the 13th, somewhere around here, or 19th, we could expect to see GBP selling, right? But for now, it's currently bullish. All right, we have like 4 more pairs to cover up, so let's do that. Euro NZD. Let's look at how the daily looks. Euro NZD daily is currently bullish. Weekly is doing what? It's actually currently bullish because of this price action right here, right? So we have 2 time frames that are bullish right now, and then the 4 hour is also bullish, right? But I don't like this price action. I just don't know why. It's not. That's how it's supposed to look. It's not looking like very bliss. Like it's looking anyway. Let's just look for. I think we can only get the 4 hour area of interest in this case, right? So this is the area of interest we can get here. Let's check the daily again. Okay, this was the reason I didn't like this pair, because it doesn't even have a clean area of interest on the daily. We can only use the 4 hour area of interest in this case, and the aggressiveness at which price came back to area of interest is also not good, right? But if we are going to be entering these markets, let's look at the lower time frames and see how we're going to do it, right? From here, price is actually supposed to buy up very strongly. It actually bought up to some extent, but it started coming down again, right? So we still need a new lower low, right, and then a new break of structure, right? So we need something like this to actually continue buying from this market, right? But I'm not adding this pair for this week. I just don't like it. I don't like the feeling, and if I lose on this kind of market, I'll not even be happy with myself, right? So that's the only reason I'm not adding it for this week. Daily time frame on NZD USD. Let us see how they look. So this market is very tight. It might actually be bullish or bearish, but I expect market to maybe buy from this area, right? Seems like market is shifting structure. You can clearly see when it was bearish, right? And I predicted the low of this market to be around this level right here, right? So right now it's shifting bullish on this market, but who says it cannot create a left shoulder to actually continue bearish? Do you understand? It could create, this might be a left head right shoulder, or this might just be a normal break and retest to continue buying. So right now it's very, very tight. So I can't necessarily know what to do or expect until price creates a little bit more price action for me to know what next to do. Right. So I'm not adding that for this week. GBP NZD. Let us see what we have for this week. So daily time frame, GBP NZD, this right here is bullish. Now another thing you need to realize is that we are currently at resistance. Right, you can't just ignore that price has reacted from this point about four times right now, and even reacted recently. Even if price action is bullish, it's very clear that price might react from this area. So if you are buying from here and your 1:2 is not up to here, then it's just too risky to be buying even if the market is bullish right now. So the realest place for us to buy this market is actually above this area, above all these rejections that have happened, right? So that is that for the daily. Same thing on the 4 hour. It's also not clean. Seems like the price action was very slow. So because of December slow price action, it's making this week's price action not so clean. That's why we don't have a lot of pairs this week, right? I'm just realizing that now. Then the last pair for this week is supposed to be last pair I'm supposed to analyze is supposed to be GPP JPY. Clearly all the overall trend of this market is clearly bullish, right? And to buy these markets, we need a break and retest above this high to buy. That would be the safest point to buy this market, right? So I'll actually just add GBP JPY for this week, right? We can clearly see that the overall trend of this market is clearly bullish, and it just makes sense that this market should probably just continue bullish because the overall trend of the market is bullish, right? So I'll add GBP JPY for this week, right? So stick around. I'll create a shorter version of this video to just explain the pairs I selected. I'll explain them in depth. I'll explain them more in depth, right? To explain why I chose these pairs and why it kind of makes sense to me, right? So I'll see you guys on the shorter versions of the weekly setup. Remember to subscribe to the channel, guys. Absolutely free. And I'll see you guys on that video.